Welcome back, everybody, to Two Tamers Talk, another Digital Gate Studios production. As always, joined by my guy, Jeff.
Hey.
We're back, and we did not have locals again tonight because of some sickness in the shop. We are just trying to plow through this holiday sickness. Hopefully back to locals next week. But we got some good testing in tonight.
We did. We got a bunch of good testing in. Not only that, what else did we do today?
What did we do?
We filmed.
We did, yes. So that is another big thing coming to the channel. You guys asked for it. We are going to make our best effort to provide it. We had to do some configuration and some tech stuff, but I think we got it figured out. So we at least have 2 gameplay videos for you guys coming up soon.
Yep.
We definitely tested out some of our more popular decks against each other, and we're going to have those gameplay videos for you guys very, very shortly. But
very excited.
Those are on their way. Yeah, they were a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Normally we deck test on Wednesdays anyways before locals, and
we kind of took advantage of being able to deck test / mess with the configuration. To get some good, warm-up games, because, I feel like this past week has been kind of a little slow for me in the Digimon realm. So I think we're all kind of coming out of the holidays, and you know how it is, right? Like, after Christmas, is there really the last couple days of December? It just goes right into January, and before you know it, all of a sudden you got to work a full 5-day week again.
Yeah, we've been buried both personally with work stuff lately, too. And work, family, all that stuff. So been kind of I don't want to say dry week, but kind of a slow week as far as like getting some Digimon stuff done. We did get some new logos done for the channel, as you can see behind Jeff.
They look
so
great.
Very excited about that. That's going to be, I think, our final logo for now.
Yeah.
Very happy with it. So that's kind of been what I've been working on in my very short amount of free time. Been putting a lot of overtime in at work, but had a lot of fun. Tonight was awesome.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Didn't get to hang out with the whole crew tonight, as everyone hoped. We would all be able to get together, but hopefully next week, the big Digi crew out here will be able to get together and we'll be able to test. But
I know I owe a bunch of people cards. They've been hitting me up like, hey man, can you bring me some of this? Can you bring me some of that? And I'm just like, as soon as I see you, man, I promise I will, so.
For sure.
Yeah.
No, but it was fun tonight. A couple of us got together and we got to deck test a little bit. We got to film our deck tests. So fun night. But
it was good.
Big reason we're trying to get as much testing as we can. Like we designate this night as like our Digimon night. So we wanted to utilize that because there is a big tournament coming up in the Northwest for a Ghost Omnimon.
For a Ghost Omni. Grand prize wins that Omnimon.
Yes.
I'm excited.
So there is a tournament coming up in Eugene, Oregon.
Yes. So
not a direct competitor to our locals at all. But something that we're going to make an effort to attend. We're going to definitely be there. There's going to be a Ghost Omnimon for first place at Mox Valley Games in Eugene, Oregon. What is it? Sunday the 19th? I think it's 12:30.
Yep. Sunday, February 19th.
Yes. I think
so not this month, next month.
Next month. So it's going to be 2 days after BT11 releases. It's going to be BT11 format. So I can't imagine how crazy fun
We're going to have to get cases of BT11 so that way we can hopefully get everything we need for the decks we want to play.
Yeah.
And, maybe I'll get you on tabletop to start testing out some BT11 stuff.
I feel like we're going to have to.
We're going to have to. We're going to have 2 days after the set comes out to get the decks fine-tuned and ready to go try to win a Ghost Omni.
Yeah.
It's a big deal, man. Obviously, I always want to win locals. Like, I'm not going to lie. I play to win, right?
Yep.
But this is a Ghost Omni,
on the line,
on the line. Like I gotta bring my A game. I can't play jank.
Yeah, for sure. So very excited about that. Once again, Mox Valley Games in Eugene, Oregon, February 19th. I believe it's at 12:30 p.m. I think it's like a $40 entry. There's a whole bunch of prizes. It's not just the Ghost Omni. It's not just Ghost Omni or bust. There's a whole bunch of prizes. So if you guys want to come out, meet us and hang out. If you're in the Northwest, or if you want to make the drive,
we're doing it.
We're doing it. We're going to be there, and come join us. It's going to be a lot of fun. So moving into our topic for the week, this is one that we've wanted to tackle for a little bit, probably a lot of it, especially since this reprint set started being revealed, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to talk rotation.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yes, when we first started seeing those block numbers, everyone was like, oh, is this rotation?
Yep.
It's like a Pokemon thing where they have the little symbols or they have whatever to designate, right, for the rotation. But Digimon wasn't really doing that. now all of a sudden we're getting this reprint set.
Right. So we've had block numbers. We were kind of going through because we talked about it after the reprint set started coming out because there's block 2. And we're like, okay, so let's go back and look. Where did block 1 start?
Yep.
So block 1 started at BT 6. And the interesting part is all the reprint cards so far that I've seen are BT 1 through 5.
Yeah.
And those are block 2s. So it would lead me to believe that if they are going to block out a format or start a format that is blocked out, it's going to be BT 6 through, it's either going to be it's going to be block 1, block 2.
Yeah.
So those cards that aren't reprinted from sets 1 through 5 are probably going to be the ones that aren't going to be legal. That being said, if you look at the reprint cards from sets 1 through 5 that they've given us, they are pretty much all the hard hitters, right? I mean, you got your HPDs, your Magna Angemons.
Demi-Mara for purple. Could you imagine playing a purple deck without that egg?
Yeah.
Besides the Beelzemon players, right? Excuse my pronunciation from the Beelzemon video.
Yes.
But I mean, this is a great topic, right? And this is something that I wanted to bring up because I wasn't in the Dragon Ball Super scene, right? Let me clarify. I didn't play the game. I've messed with it a couple times, but I
played a little bit.
Right? Yeah. Not whatever. Not a bad game. We're not here to talk about that. But the big thing I do want to mention from that scene is that's Bandai. They don't have a rotation. That game has been going on for so much longer. So obviously we're sitting here, we're speculating, we're looking at things that they've went out of their way to print on the cards. So we have no proof if there is going to be a rotation. There's no sign of it, right? There's no news about it, especially with Japan, who's sets ahead of us.
Yeah.
Right? Like by the time we get RB1, who knows when it's going to release, there could be block 3 in Japan.
Yeah.
Right? All of a sudden. So,
well, that's the thing about the reprint set. It's like we're getting teasers for those, but those are teasers for the Japan set.
Yeah. So it's a ways away.
It's way ahead. Right. So if we are going to get blocked out or we are going to get a rotation, it's going to be after BT or EX4 at least.
EX4, BT 13. I mean, so we still got a long ways to go, but what's your opinion on if we had a rotation?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's definitely an interesting point. Like I would love Digimon to be in that state of the game where there are different formats and different formats, like obviously there's tons of Digimon players that some are playing a standard, some are playing a modern equivalent or whatever the term is for Pokemon with the older stuff, right up, So, I mean, that's definitely a sign of growth in the game for sure if they decide to do it, but I don't necessarily want them to do rotation. And
it's interesting because the cards that they're choosing to reprint and put those new block numbers on, essentially making them, quote unquote legal, assuming, we know what they're doing.
Yep.
Those are the big power cards anyways.
Yeah.
It's like, it's almost like they're trying to phase out so you don't have like so many,
But I haven't seen Gaia Force yet. I need Gaia Force for red. You know what I'm saying? Like there's that starter deck. Like what's going to happen with that? That's not getting reprinted in that set. That's the best removal for red.
But the security tech Greymon is.
That's true. Maybe, we just haven't seen all the cards. I know we saw Ultimate Flare and we were excited about having a foil.
Another great BT5 card. Yeah.
Another great. Sure. BT5 was a great set.
Well, they're even giving us a HPD.
Yep.
So you can run. They're going out of their way to give us, if there is a rotation, to give us a one of reprint, unless they're going to change restrictions after.
Yeah, which is
they
definitely
could
possible, right?
Could you imagine 4 HPDs in a deck again?
Oh my gosh, that would be sick.
Especially after my green deck that we played tonight. I'd find a way to put them in there.
Yeah. I don't want to get to the point where I can't use certain cards because I don't want to play in a standard format. I don't want to have to only deal with with Magic. Like I don't like Magic in standard, right? And it sucks because when I did play Magic, I was never a good enough or competitive enough player to truly enjoy Modern either. But I would build some of the funnest things with Modern, just because I'd have way more cards and a bigger card pool and more tribes to work with compared to standard, where I don't like it when I get invested into a deck, especially for those that do only play one deck. Mm-hmm. You spend all this money on this one deck, a couple sets go by, you have to change the deck, or you have to keep,
Yeah.
So, Digimon kind of has this natural power creep, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Let me clarify, right?
It's definitely
right.
There,
like
though.
You're not going to sit there and use the BT1
Omni
Break Dramon or the BT1 Omni. That's even better example. Yeah. Nobody even used that Break Dramon to begin with. But you're not sitting there using those old cards, right?
Yeah.
I miss BT5 Tactimon. I've been thinking about that a lot this week. I want to play that again. But it's like there are just better ways of doing that style of deck or better ways of doing that kind of combo or game style that it does, where it kind of has this natural power creep in the game.
Yeah.
Right. And they do a pretty good job of representing every color and representing every play style and giving us things for every tribe out there, basically. Right. Where they're giving us a little bit more, I mean, so it's definitely, I don't think rotation is needed, is my point.
Right? I don't think it's needed, but I have a feeling it's coming.
Yeah. But it hasn't come for Super.
That's
and
that's
Super's
true.
been going on for longer, which is just, I mean, like,
but we start to see some things like, if you look at what's happened after set 6, right? Like set 6, we got the Jessmon, we got all that stuff, right? So the new stuff that has been like Jessmon has supported the old Jessmon stuff, right?
Correct.
Where if you look back to like Ragna stuff, the new Ragna stuff has replaced the old Ragna stuff.
No, absolutely.
Right? Because your Ragna deck's great, but how much old Ragna stuff even works in it?
I mean, I use the original level 3, the black, the Ludamon.
The Searchers,
Searchers,
but it's hard, right? So it's like it seems like they're either intentionally power creeping out the old cards so you don't use them, or they're just kind of phasing them out. And so it kind of makes you think that like they don't want you to have too many of a certain kind of strategy. I mean, it's weird. It's weird.
Yeah.
So does that mean that we're going to have multiple formats? I don't know. I don't think that that's a dice that they roll this early in the game.
There yet with multiple formats, right?
And I mean, Magic didn't do that for a while.
Yes, absolutely.
It took a while before they're like, do you want to play everything?
Yep.
Or is it, 15 years ago that you're not going to be able to get this card? We're not even 2 years out, really.
Correct.
From being able to get OG stuff. And especially like the way that the game is now, like you can get OG stuff and it's not that expensive. It's not like 1.0 commons are unreachable.
They're still super cheap.
Yeah, I'm still picking up BT, 4 pre-release cards for 86 cents. Because they're fun. So it's going to be interesting. I don't know if it's just like a future-proofing thing that they're doing right now. So in case they want to do it, like who knows if in the future they're just like, okay, we're going to be like block 1 through 5, so nothing doesn't have a block number, but that's 3 or 4 years from now. I feel
eventually
like
down the line. Which if that's the case, I'm all for that mindset, because having that block number on the card doesn't bother me, right? It's not like I can't look at the card because it's got a tiny little block number in the corner that I never saw before. You know what I'm saying? Or the ones now at 2 for Toyagamon, for example, we were just talking about, where the original one didn't have it, right? Because that was the BT. Didn't have it compared to the 2 on this one. But if Bandai's really thinking long term like that, that's a great sign, because that's the last thing I want, is to get this invested into a game that Bandai is like, you know what? After 3 years, we're pulling the plug. And obviously they've been great with Dragon Ball Super. They have not. There's no signs of them. I was at a card shop the other day and there was a whole scene of Dragon Ball Super players. I wasn't there for that, right? So it's still a strong game, and obviously
it's regional for sure.
They're still doing that game and they're still supporting that. And I think Bandai, maybe you're right. They're just thinking about the future proofing, which if that's the case, thank you.
No, I'm all for it. I think they're designing a trigger that they can pull when they want to.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing. And honestly, it's nice because, as we are with our decks, we like to get those foils. I mean, I'm going to get like a foil Megadramon and a foil HPD for all the green players and foil Magnadramons. There's going to be all kinds of cool Ultimate Flares getting a foil. Like there's a bunch of commons that are coming out that are finally getting those foils.
Yeah, which is cool.
Which will be nice. Cool. I mean, we're not going to get them until probably middle to late summer.
Yeah.
If we are even going to get them. There's not even any reports that we're going to get those.
Well, that's a great point that you said, right? Because I saw something on the Facebook group that someone who was concerned that they're not going to get this set, that we're not getting. I don't think that's the case at all. I mean, we have an entire new archetype support. We have a whole, it's not just like 1 or 2 brand new cards in this set, like a whole Gamamon line. We got Hero's Dad.
Yep.
We got the new, the Ghillie suit Mon, a little sniper for the Gamamon line.
You got the Gamamon guy,
a whole new Wizen Gamamon. We have support for that wonderful tribe, which I'm all for. I'm super excited about this because maybe they are listening. Maybe like, you know what? Maybe we should make Gamamon line more accessible since he is kind of the face of our franchise as far as TV media goes.
Well, because you get the new one is it's like the Canon Weiss, right? So it's another one with an inheritable that gives you all the inheritables of the Gamamon.
I can't remember. I have to look at the card. You're probably right, but what's great about this is they all say Digivolve 0 from a Gamamon, right? So
the 4.
Yes, the Force,
not
right?
the 6, not the new, no, the new 5. The new 5 doesn't,
Well,
but the new 5 is like the Canon Weiss, but the new 4 is blocker.
Yes, and
green blocker.
It's awesome. I mean, like the fact that Digimon, I wonder if Bandai's really starting to take this. I don't want to say they never took Digimon seriously, but especially for the U.S. market, Digimon kind of felt like an afterthought for someone who's like me, who's been in it since I was a young kid. Where it's like Digimon was always like an afterthought. Like not a lot of people like I collected Digimon toys when I was a kid. You know, I loved those. Or having the card games that we got like a half version of the original Digital Coliseum, or weird booster packs of Fusion Wars when that started coming out and things like that, right? Well, now it's like there's a Vital bracelet. And on that Vital bracelet, that little Gil suit, whatever, I can't say the word right now. I don't know why I can't say the word right now. The other Gamamon level 4 that's not like a dinosaur looking dude, right? He was on the Vital bracelet. So now we're having like Bandai getting together, giving us cards for all of these alternative Digivolutions, all these different things that, I don't know, it's converging really nicely in my opinion. So I wanted to give props for sure for that.
Yeah. I think once they announced the exclusive cards, like it had to kind of solidify it for the United States. I mean, we're going to get those cards eventually. I mean, they've done that before, like with the security Digimon, which I think they announced that we're going to get those as box toppers in BT12 or something like that.
BT11, I think.
11 or 12. So we will get those eventually, which will fill out my binder, which is nice.
Yeah.
But once the reprint set like debuted cards we haven't had, I was like, okay, we are going to get this set.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
We have to, especially with like the poop deck support and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Gamamon support. And so there's a lot of stuff. We're going to get it, folks. Just be patient.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to be patient for all my foil commons and stuff, but
yeah. I'm excited to see those memory boosts because I saw that they are going to put those in there too. So kind of rewind for one sec, right? Like if they decide to do some sort of rotations or different formats, having those memory boosts available is going to be a great thing. And now coming back to our present topic, what's the texture going to be like on those? Because the memory boosts we have now are textured awesome.
Both of them. Well, right? No, just the non-rare ones.
Yes. Unfortunately, the alternate art does not have a killer texture. Like I wish it did. But are they going to texture these ones? Are they going to have the same? Or is it going to look back like a normal rare card where it's just a normal foil? So definitely curious to see that.
I think it'll be normal foil. I think the OG ones will probably be max rarity because they come out of the old starter decks.
Yeah, for those of you that care about max rarity.
Which they're still not going to be easy to get. I mean,
no.
At that point. Because at that point for us, it's going to be middle to late summer.
Yeah.
And you're talking about, you're either going to get it there or you're going to talk about BT7 box toppers, BT8.
Oh, for the memory boost
box
toppers?
For the alternate art. The regular arts are going to be the Gallantmon Ulforce.
Yeah. So it had to have been.
So, I mean, you're talking about a year ago at that point.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to give us, I mean, they're so vital in so many decks that they have to give us the reprints, which is great.
Yep.
But, I mean, they got to come from somewhere because they're going to be hard to get, both versions. And the alternate arts, I've already looked. I mean, the prices are starting to kind of creep up on those.
Yeah.
Because they only came as box toppers. That's the only place you can get them in the United States.
Yeah, and they're not going to keep printing that box.
No, I think that's done. I don't think they're going to give us any more of those. So
another topic I wanted to talk about with this rotation in this reprint set, right, is I'm not seeing a lot of vanillas, right? So I'm wondering if we just, maybe they don't want to show off all the vanillas because they're not that exciting and they want to show us new things or commonly used cards. But
a lot of inheritables.
Yeah, if they do end up doing, because that was the thing that I've always liked with Digimon, right? And as we are in BT10 now and EX3, vanillas are starting to go away. But like you'd always make that argument of having the Turbo level 5. Or the Turbo level 4, especially for a cheaper Digivolution cost. Or I'm a big fan of 2 cost level 3s.
Yeah.
Right? Being able to just hard play those and then Digivolve into a blocker for pretty cheap, draw a card, memory choke your opponent pretty effectively. Like if you have a memory tamer, they don't. You drop a 2-drop, Digivolve for 2 into a blocker, they're at 1, and you know what I'm saying? Like back to that classic BT1 in early days of that's what you would do. So I'm not seeing a lot of those like 2 costs. I'm not seeing a lot of those cheaper vanilla cards, but that also got me thinking, especially because we had a special guest tonight kind of jump in and we were having a good fun conversation about newer players getting into the game, right? Like for those of you, because obviously we want this game to grow. Obviously
Who's
we
the
want
special guest?
Your wife.
Oh, my wife.
Your wife. Yeah, she came in and she was having a fun conversation while you were doing all your tech
fixing the
stuff.
computer. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, we had a new player in here.
Yeah,
she's an old player.
that's what I want to say, right? So like she played at the beginning, right? You know, and she would have fun with building the old conventional stacks, and I'm sitting here showing her what X Antibody does and how it has all these different levels. Now you build this even bigger stack, twice the size, potentially, right?
Yeah.
And so, will this reprint set be more friendly to those players? Like, if they do a rotation, all of a sudden, everything before set 10 you can't use or whatever, right? Will that be more friendly to newer players?
I don't think so, because that stuff was easy.
Right? That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. So, like, if
you're talking about pre-Digiburst, pre-DNA, pre-cross, all that stuff, pre-hybrids, like that was the easy stuff.
Yeah. So it's such an interesting point, because they are giving us, that we keep coming back to the Toy Agumon. I don't know why that keeps getting stuck in our head, because that reboot wasn't that played, as much once Ether Black Level 3 started coming out, right? But that's like an example. Like, you can kind of go back to the roots of Black and take advantage of that. So it's going to be very interesting to see what they decide to do with this.
It's going to hurt things like Rookie Rush and stuff that played a lot of the 2-cost vanillas, because it's like every time they give us more, it enhances those decks because it gives them more weapons. It's like, I also haven't seen any D-Brigade, any Commandramons.
I've not seen any Commandramon, and I feel like that is
sets, especially up to BT5, if that's as far as we're going.
That's a very popular theme.
There was a lot of Commandramon stuff between BT1 and BT5.
Yeah, you're talking about the Black Star deck, you're talking about set 3, you're talking about set 4, it's been set 5, 6. I think it was, there was a good chunk where every set they got at least
a couple
something
pieces,
with the
especially
term.
The sets where they gave you a Commandramon.
Yeah.
Right? I think BT4 and 5 had Commandramons, right?
I think so.
At least BT4 did. I know that, because I remember there was, because Darkdramon came from BT4.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then set 5 gave the blocker one.
Yeah. Blocker Commandramon. Yeah.
I remember correctly. So, and that, like, for me, that was one of my favorite tribals. I love the little Commandramon line. It's just a blast. Not only to play, but I've always liked the lore behind all of that stuff. So,
well, it's one of those decks that just gets better, right? It's like with Machinedramon, it's like, am I going to lose cyborgs? I think I'm going to lose cyborgs.
You don't want to lose cyborgs, right? That's a perfect point too. Like, what happens if rotate out, all of a sudden half your cyborgs are gone? And you're like,
I got to play BT5 or post 6,
right?
You that they give me.
Well,
with
the good news is that Virus Metal Greymon that gives you plus 3K is in the reprint.
It is,
so you're not losing that one.
Yeah. I've seen so many lists that don't play that, and I don't understand. So good.
Oh yeah.
But and I mean, rotation has been a big topic of debate. I mean, since the game started, because people were like, when is it going to start? And so far, I don't think it's going to start. I think it's really just like something they're going to keep in their back pocket, because they have been known, Bandai has been known to make a lot of mistakes as far as like, I mean, how many erratas did we have in the last set before it even came out, right? So I think that it's like the oopsies kind of thing. Like, if they want to just be like, okay, 1 through 5 didn't happen except for these, like, 14 or 25, 30 cards that we actually paid attention to, that are the important ones, right? Like, we have the Magna, the Lilith, like they put like a lot of staples for each color into this reprint set.
Yeah.
Where I think that they're just like, the game will survive as is with the staples if we just keep these key cards in.
Yeah.
And then people can live without the vanillas from 1 through 5. Which is going to be interesting, because a lot of people, I mean, including me and you, like, that's a big part of how we plan decks, especially with all the traits and things that go into it. Like, we don't just plan decks as far as like, we're going to play this one meta deck. We saw a list. Like, we're like, there's a lot of times where we're just going to jump into Digimon.dev and just be like, or whatever the website is.
Yeah.
Saved. But we'll jump into it and we'll search for traits. We'll search for levels. We'll search for, and because,
like, I need a specific level 4 that fits this tribe or this theme or this color or this cost or whatever.
Like your Aegis-Dramon, you're like, I need to look for all the aquatic beasts.
Yeah,
right?
Sea animal, fishes, crustaceans. Yeah.
But eventually, you might have to just be like, from set 6 on. You might have to set some additional filters, So I think that's what it's going to impact the most is the people that have all of the OG cards from the beginning, that they're just going to be like, well, these cards don't essentially, they're not going to be used anymore, which is going to be interesting for the value of cards, which is kind of the next thing that I wanted to talk about, because if they do introduce a rotation, the Digimon has been a unique game in the fact that the card's value, in contrast to like Pokemon, which nobody up here really plays in person. Like a lot of those are, the value of Pokemon cards are based on like rarity, not necessarily based on playability. They're just based on rarity, texturing, how good they look, that kind of stuff. But Digimon, from what I've seen, their card value is based on playability. I think like Death X is a huge. Like Death X, anytime a new deck takes top in an Ultimate Cup or an Evo Cup or a DC Grand Prix or anything like that, like all of a sudden the cards that were in that winning deck just shoot up.
Especially if there's an Altar version. Like you don't see somebody going out trying to get a graded Death X Mon. Yeah. Right? Just because, like they're doing the Pokemon approach where they're trying to make that money or they're trying to collect graded cards, right? Like they want to play it.
Yeah, and nobody's grading BT1 Omnis and trying to flip them right now because the card itself, it had this weird lull and jump and weird thing, but it's like it's going to be years before that's a collectible card. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the rotation is going to add another kind of kicker into that, where it's like if these cards can't be played, and if they don't include BT1 Omni or certain cards like that, then they are going to be only collectible cards.
Yep.
And if they're only collectible cards, are they going to be worth anything? And I think that's going to come down to how long do people hold on to these cards? Are they taking good care of them? That kind of thing. It might be like 10, 15 years before like a BT1 Omni Alt-Art is actually worth its weight in cardboard.
Yeah, and I definitely want to remain optimistic that Bandai is trying to do Digimon the justice because... Digimon does have a loyal fan base, and maybe I'm just biased because I've always been more into Digimon than I've been Pokemon, like always. Like I was always that one weird kid, I guess, about that. But it's just like I do see a lot of value being able to be retained for those that do decide to collect this, right? So we'll see what happens with the whole franchise stuff and as a whole, but. This reprint set, for example, I think I saw something where, like, for example, I don't know if you know this, but like over in Japan and overseas, they're not allowed to play the P9 Agumon that gives plus 2K in certain events because not everybody had access to that promo.
It's like a magazine promo or something.
Yeah, it was like some magazine promo. The only way to get that particular Agumon, so that P9 Agumon, is way rare over in the Japan, overseas scene. Whereas us, we got it in the Digifest. We got it the normal way. We also just got these awesome, cool textures in the premium deck set thing that just came out.
Kind of like the Anime Expo.
Yeah.
Digimon Survive cards.
Yeah.
We haven't got the alt arts for those yet because they are re-releasing those as alt arts, but you had to either be at the Anime Expo or buy them on eBay.
I think they were supposed to come with the game, and some people were able to get codes.
And that never happened.
And when I got the game, I didn't get the cards, so it's just this weird thing. But so like that Agumon, for example, like it has even a text box that says this card counts as P9, or you can't because obviously they don't want people being like, well, I'm going to play 4 P9 Agus
and 4 RB
whatever RB1 Agus, right? But it's like, that's the point I wanted to bring up. Like, do we really need to write that on the text as well? Like, yes, it's a small line. It looks very similar to an X-Antibody Greymon that just says Digivolve for 0 on a Greymon. Yeah. Right? It looks very much like that. So it's not like it's going to take up the whole artwork. But at what point do they just let people use, I don't want to say common sense, because a lot of times where people are like, well, if it's not written on the card, blah, blah, blah. But can't they just make like a blank rule? Like that these cards count as this, and like make not an errata list, but like a something similar to that where they just say, if you're using this Agumon, you cannot use this one as well, or whatever.
Well, I think that I think that the block number is why they did that. So I think that they can't. I think that they won't assign a block number to a card that has already existed, or a new block number to a card that has already existed.
Yeah, because they can't.
So they have to call it a new number. To assign it a new block number. I think that's kind of why.
That's what I'm saying is that RB1 Agu has a text box saying that it counts as P9, right? Agu,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So if they are going to do a block number, and if they are going to do a rotation, why put that on there? Why would you have that little blurb? I mean, that's just me being nitpicky.
Probably
but
for the interim before they actually make the call, because there are going to be people that are like, well, the rules say this, and they haven't called the rotation yet. So I think it's probably just for the interim.
I feel like it's just easier just to make a new rule and post something on their website, just like we do with the erratas, like where we look on the website for erratas, and that's what we tell people. So
I think there definitely could be a more efficient way to do it. I get it.
And I just obviously this game is way better in my opinion than Yu-Gi-Oh! I've never played Yu-Gi-Oh! I can't stand the game. At least
you don't want to win on your first turn.
I don't. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. Like whatever. But you don't want these paragraphs on the card. And sometimes we do have a lot of cards that are becoming that way.
Paladin mode.
Well, yeah, which I get it. There's a lot that's going on with that card. Like Digimon thankfully has a huge artwork scene, right? Like where the entire card is like an artwork, and then they got this little text box. Like I haven't showed you this, but the vanilla One Piece cards have a blank spot for their text box.
Yeah.
Which is really weird because it's just empty. Whereas Digimon is obviously like a vanilla card, doesn't have that. It looks way better.
Yeah.
Right? So it's interesting. I just don't want to have these ginormous paragraphs with a bunch of things that they could just post on a website. And for us at the shop, you always print off all the FAQs for the rules, right? So just have shops carry, this little notebook that says RB1 Agu counts the same as P9 Agu. Don't play 8 of them. So whatever. That's just it's just one tiny line, and I'm just being ridiculous.
I get you. Yeah, it's going to be interesting for sure. I mean, the best part is that we don't have to deal with this for months on months on months, because we are still over. I mean, when you say it, when it just comes out of your mouth, you're like, we're still over a month away from a new set of Digimon.
It's been really nice. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, it's been nice in the fact that we've had these closures with our shop because of illness and holidays and all that stuff.
Yeah,
so I don't think this could have aligned better, even though I know that our local scene is chomping at the bit to get back to locals and back to hanging out and back to being competitive and stuff. I mean, this is our March Madness, right?
Yes.
Every single week, right? This is what we like to do. This is our competitiveness. I'll test with Jeff and I'll test with, Joe, and we'll test behind the scenes. We're going to get this deck ready and then just bring it out at locals. And it's that whole edgy part.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that everyone is doing that too with their little groups that they have as well in clicks.
Yeah, we're getting ready, but we haven't been able to get together. So hopefully next week, that's when we're going to be able to get together and just fight it out, and we'll be able to get all that angst and figure out where everyone's at as far as decks go.
Yeah, I mean, the year went so fast. We had releases drop really quick. Yes, there were some delays and stuff, but they were getting to a really good rhythm where it was just oh my goodness, I haven't had a chance to mess with every card of the set, or I haven't even finished my binder. How am I supposed to get ready for the next set?
Well, it's after EX3 came out that first week, we were just on our heels, and all of a sudden we had Dorbic Mons, and we had 4 great dragons and all that stuff. And we're just how does that deck work? I have not it's only been a week. I haven't had a chance to test against that yet. So but people just came with it and came with the fire, and you're just on your heels trying to figure out how these decks work. And so it's been nice to now be able to kind of because everyone's been so busy, it's been nice to be able to kind of just take a step back. We're trying to focus on obviously the rebrand of the channel and everything else. So it's been kind of nice. So it's been nice to take a break, because we have. But once BT11 hits, we are already full bore. We were talking about decks we're going to build. We're going to do definitely some big unboxings. Definitely cases, possibly.
We'll have to figure out the logistics of that. What we're going to
talk to the wives about financial. We'll see how much we can get out of them. But we're definitely gonna open some stuff on camera, because we are excited about that set for sure, because it definitely introduces a lot of enhancements to older decks.
Not only that,
formats,
the meta completely changes.
Black or gray,
boom, right?
Comes out.
We get a whole. I mean, Mastamon, because I feel like Mastamon players were kind of gravitating towards Ophanny Fall Down mode.
Yeah,
that's kind of the direction Purple Yellow went. And it's always interesting too. Since you talked about Dorbic, I'll just rewind for one sec. Right, you didn't see a lot of Dorbic lists overseas. Now all of a sudden we're having these huge Zorbic lists of American players, and it's not like we know something that they didn't know.
Right.
If anything, they're closer to translations than we are. They haven't had nearly the amount of erratas we have had.
Yeah.
Right. So just seeing the difference in the scene from overseas to where we're at now. And then not only that, now BT11's coming out, a whole new Mastamon setup with the Tamer, the new Angelomon, the Lady Devimon. Right. I mean, I know Old Force is coming out there, but I don't think Old Force is going to be super meta. I really want to be proven wrong. Because I am a fan of the Old Force,
no idea what's going to happen, though. That's the crazy part.
I know that's going to be a fun deck for me. Like, I'm definitely excited to do that. I very much liked it in BT2, and I especially when set 5 when the Sora and Joe came out, and all of a sudden people were suspending that with Old Force, making crazy cool lists. That was awesome. So I'm very excited to see that. But BT11, that Black War Gray, is it going to be the deck?
Is it going to be the
deck?
Boy, yeah.
Because as of right now, that's what I'm thinking I'm going to bring to our Eugene event.
Ooh, okay.
Mox Valley, right?
2 days in. Yeah.
Sure. I think I'm going to try because thankfully that set, yes, the new Black War Gray X and the Tamer will be rares, super rares from the set that, I will need to pick up, but I have the rest of the deck.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
It's going to be an addition.
I already have a Black War Gray base built, and I need to start testing Black War Gray again, so maybe that's what I'll start spending my next couple of weeks doing while we're getting ready.
You will. Yeah.
I just, Black War Gray is such a fun deck, and I've always liked it, and now we're getting this cool X antibody because I liked Galmon. Don't get me wrong.
Speaking of that, if we're talking about Tamers too, I mean, you just brought up the BT5 stuff. We do have Nokia in the reprint set.
We do.
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
So there is Nokia in the reprint set, but we haven't seen Sora and Joe in BT5. Not. We haven't seen Izzy and Joe.
Yep.
There was a lot of important stuff in BT5 as far as dual tamers go.
Yeah.
That we have not seen in the reprint set. I think, if they take away Sora and Joe and Izzy and Joe, those are big tamers in the format as far as just having that option and the ability. Sora and Joe is huge.
Well, maybe it's a good sign for Hexablow players to finally give up the ghost. If Sora and Joe ends up being rotated out.
Well, if they rotate that out, they're going to rotate out Hexablow.
I'm sorry, Hexablow's easy to counter against, and I want it to be cool. It was fun when it was out in set 5.
You saw me try and
don't get me wrong,
build that deck for 2 months. I couldn't figure it out.
It's like, I know, it's just like, yes, I'm glad we're at the point now where stripping sources is not like the end of the game, because it felt like that for a while, for sure, where we're no longer at that spot, but man, because... no, you're right though. If we don't get those dual tamers, whether it's from BT5 or whether it's from BT6, because we also got some dual tamers in there, but who knows? Maybe Bandai will print us the Mimi and Sora, that purple dual tamer that nobody uses. Maybe that's the one they're gonna reprint. They're like, you know what? You get this dual tamer.
Yeah, you can have this one. Yeah.
So
I think we're solid.
Well, it's gonna be interesting, right? Like, are they gonna do an RB2? Like, are they gonna have a second? How are they gonna follow this up? Because now we're gonna have BT sets. We're gonna have structure decks. We're going to have EX sets. Is this RB going to be a continual thing where RB2 is going to come out and they're going to give us more staples? So,
yeah. And I
very
think
interesting.
The interesting thing, too, is like so by the time we get RB2, we'll be able to see the rotation in sets, I think, because they have a solid rotation now where it's 2 sets, EX, 2 sets, EX.
Yeah.
The starter deck thing is really just, they're still trying to figure that out, I think.
Which is fine. Like, I have nothing to complain about because, I will say that, like, for example, starter deck 4, 5, and 6, the green, black, and purple, right? Mm-hmm. I think those came out at the right time. You know what I'm saying? Like, that meta, especially with the Hercules Kabuterimon, which I would love to see more support for that in the future, by the way. That was a fun set when that came out. That was really, really cool. And then like when that Gallantmon and the old 4 starter decks came out, I feel like that was at a good time too.
The Gallantmon was so strong.
Yeah, the Gallantmon was strong out of the box, and then you got those security Digimon that actually had on play effects as well.
Yeah.
And then like they reprinted Hammerspark with a block number in that set, right? Or they reprinted Gaia Force with a block number in that set. So it's definitely interesting.
They had block numbers?
I think they did. I could be making things up. I've done that before. I've been wrong a couple times.
I'll have to look at it. I don't know if they had block numbers back then. We have to look at it.
Yeah.
Don't quote us on that. But it is a point to be made that the starter decks are just what they are. I mean, we don't know. I mean, we know that the next one we're going to get is the Beelzemon, to make sure I pronounce it correctly. And it has its own unique tournament associated with it.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the first starter deck, which is interesting, that has its own rarity pulls.
Well, I think they're calling it an advanced deck, right? Isn't that what they're terming it? I can't remember
it's still ST14.
It's still ST, yes.
It's still
but
ST, yeah.
I think on the box it says like advanced deck or whatever. You
so
know?
basically, you're just going to pull them until you find that alternate art feels.
Which it's Which, I mean, it's funny that they did that because I think the Jesmon deck is really good out of the box. You could call that an advanced deck.
I like that deck.
You know, like if people who are just starting in the game, like even the Mastamon list, right, or the Imperial too. Those ones are killer lists. People who are brand new to the game, what do we tell them all the time? Like, go pick up one of those.
Grab one of those.
Grab two of them if you need a playset. You know,
and they're like, I grabbed the yellow starter deck, and you're like, oh, I'm sorry. You grabbed the wrong one.
Like, are you talking about Heaven's Yellow?
Yeah.
Like the originals. Oh my gosh.
Even the purple one's terrible.
Yeah.
Kreskaruru or whatever. Like,
that's such a fun deck.
It's fun, but the power creep is real.
Yes.
It's most real in the starter decks.
Yeah, having a 4-cost Evo, because that was the problem. And I don't want to say Titanmon is the reason we lost a friend of ours at a scene. I always feel like it is.
He tried real hard.
If you're listening, we still love you and
you.
we miss you very much. But like Titanmon was a 4-cost Evo, and yes, there were ways to gain memory to make it happen, but it felt like the payoff wasn't worth it to end your turn and only be at 4, because that's it's like the power creep for sure. That Kresgarumon's worse. Like it's a 4-cost Evo, so you get a Digiburst to gain security attack, or Digiburst to unsuspend. No, it's Digiburst 2 to play level 3, I think.
Is that what it is?
I think that's what it is.
Yeah, that's not good.
You know, and then like on plays don't activate.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah, rest in peace. Starter deck, especially since what they end up doing with these starter decks is they're like, okay, we're gonna power creep out all of the levels 5s, level 6s, and then we're just gonna reprint and give you alternate arts of the 3 or 4 good cards out of that deck that you're actually worth using.
Yep.
There's no point in getting it or even trying to find it. So, okay, so if we're talking about the cards that we want to reprint and use, what's been important to you this week? Like, let's get into cards of the week.
Okay.
It's getting late. We got to get into cards of the week.
Yes. So this is I
went first last week.
Okay. So I had a tough one with this one this week. I was sitting there really struggling, like, what's going on, like kind of what card has been like just driving me, but
because we really only played tonight and then last week, like we've been so busy with everything. We're like, so what's been fun to see either tonight or last week since,
Yeah, but this card has me keep coming back because I have been missing purple so much. Purple is one of the funnest colors, in my opinion, to play.
Yeah, I haven't seen you play purple in a while.
I know, it's been a while. I've been on this weird little break from it, so, because like I like the Minerva Loop stuff, do not get me wrong, and I think that is the best deck in purple, but that's never really been my style, which is funny because I love decks that play bodies for dumb reasons or doing whatever they're doing. But a card that I was thinking in purple, and especially the Bogger's Army list that we have posted in our channel, really does, I think, highlight this well. And I think it's that first deck where I got to take full advantage of this card. But it's an option from BG10, Death the Cannon. So it's an 8-cost removal. And it's a really good removal card. And I think that purple especially has struggled, which is crazy to think about with removal when it comes from just basic options. We're talking about BT2, you get Trump Sword. I hate that card. Hate that card.
Every time
and I'm a Piedmon fan, and I love the cool sword. Like, I think the artwork is great on the card, but it only triggers on unsuspended Digimon. We're no longer at a point where their big threat is unsuspended. Yeah. Especially back in BT2, when purple first started coming out. What would you do when you played against purple? You just swing with your body, so it wouldn't be suspended, so they couldn't Trump Sword it.
Yeah, it was literally just like a counter to Imperial, right?
Yeah, it was.
I mean, that was the only thing. So you don't suspend with Imperial, and then if you hit a Trump Sword, like, then you were screwed. Yeah,
yeah, and then we got Fly Bullet. Or excuse me. Well, let me back up because we got a card called Hell's Gate, right? Out of set 4.
Gate's still a good card,
and I like Hell's Gate.
It's a security.
It's the fact that it doesn't trigger in security. I understand it's a 6 cost. It's cheaper. But it does also have a very specific thing that it targets. It targets 6 and higher. And sometimes you just need a universal Gaia Force. and like maybe my card of the week should have been Gaia Force, but I wanted to
I
highlight
think you already did that, didn't you? I'm sure you have. We've been 18 weeks in. There's no way you haven't picked Gaia Force yet.
I don't think I picked Gaia Force because I've been trying to pick newer cards that have been like inspiring me recently.
In the comments.
There we
go through all other 17 episodes.
Watch them all.
It's probably the first 3 or 4.
Yeah. But you might be right. I'll have to do that myself.
Pretty sure.
But Death the Cannon, man, it's an 8 cost. It's a good option. It triggers in security. Yeah. And yes, there is a requirement, right? So it doesn't go away from that whole purple mentality of having to have some weird stipulation, right? Where it only deletes a level 6 or lower. But the moment you have 10 cards in trash, which any color can do relatively quickly, you build one stack that gets deleted that dies in security, or you get swung into security, or if you're just playing purple and you fill up the trash really quickly, you're automatically on board to delete any card in the game, right? Obviously, barring deletion effects and stuff like that. So I think Death the Cannon is a very, very important card for purple going forward in the future. It's not a 9 cost. It's not a ridiculous stipulation. It's not like you have to have 20 cards in trash to trigger it.
Yeah.
Right. And Fly Bullet's a card that I've been wanting to just like more and more and more. Obviously the 7 costs, like you can't give Beelstar or 3 Musketeers a 7 cost option that can kill level 7s. That would be too easy for them. So I understand why they did this, but my card of the week is Death the Cannon. Thank you for giving us a good purple removal card that will help out in all of my future deck building and, kind of re-inspiring me to play purple again.
Great artwork, too.
Great artwork. Yep. Even if you're not a fan of the Cross Wars Beelzemon compared to the normal Digimon Tamers one, I get it, but yeah. Anyway, sorry. Please, what's your card?
All right. So, I've been toying with this green Geen deck.
Geen, yes.
For the past couple weeks. So, I have been rebuilding it. So, that's kind of what I've been working on aside from the rebrand for the channel. I think I have... from the reboot decks or the update series you guys are going to start seeing on the channel, they've already started. I think that I have the Machine Dramon where I want it to be.
Yeah. I
think I have the Security Digimon deck where I want it to be. So I've been working on this side deck.
Yeah.
And it's kind of an update. The base of it was a deck that I did back in like September, October, which was a security or like a green gotcha merciful deck that I premiered on the channel. It was kind of one of my first decks. It was borderline tested. I think I took it to like 1 tournament, maybe. It was kind of an early deck that we were just kind of like trying to get some good decks on the channel. Something I had a lot of fun with. It was a deck that I was like, every time I played it, I had a great time.
Yeah.
But now we're like 2 or 3 sets later, and I've been able to change it completely.
Yes.
And
completely redefine that top end and some crazy cool stuff.
Yeah. So basically, it just warps from 5 to 6 in multiple ways.
Yes,
which is interesting. So it started out with just like the 5 to 6 Izzy and Mimi, the tamer,
tamer.
And then we got the metal.
Another set 5 card.
Yes,
that how we haven't seen it in reprint, right?
Yeah. The first one was the Yagamon, right? Or the
yes, from set 1. Yep.
Yes. So that was the first thing that kind of like sparked my interest.
And Smashing potatoes.
Mashed potatoes.
That was the option. That's a special attack.
Yeah. So, and then in BT7, they gave us the exact same card, but a 5 cost.
But way better.
Way better. So that's going to be my card of the week. I'm kind of rambling. I'm beating around the bush. So I've been playing this deck for the past, couple weeks, refining it. This Mame Tyramon is a lot of fun from BT7. Yes. I know it's a weird card. It's kind of an offshoot. You really have to build a deck around it, but I had a lot of fun testing it tonight. I had a lot of fun. And this was honestly, if our locals was open tonight, I was going to take this deck.
Yeah, I was excited to see that.
Yeah. So when you swing with it, you get to Digivolve for free. You get to, mill the top 3 cards of your deck. If any of those 3 cards is a level 6 green, doesn't matter how much it costs to Digivolve.
Yep.
You get to Digivolve for free. So there's a lot of cool stuff you can tack on top of it. I'm going to put this deck profile up sooner than later. I'm still working on the ratios, but tonight was a lot of fun with it.
Good test for sure.
I mean, it's zoo and it's green. 2 things that don't necessarily go together.
You wouldn't think that they go together, but all of a sudden it's working. I mean, as a green gotcha fan, I was so excited when Tortamon was announced.
Yeah.
And I made sure to get my store participant Tortamons as soon as possible because I love green gotcha.
Yeah.
Blast of it's a totally fun deck. So having this Mame Tyramon what's the best way to, like in that normal deck, I felt like I was kind of bricking because I would try to put too many Tamers in, and then I would also try to fit in too many level 6s. I think your deck answers that issue really well by just making it zoo.
Yeah.
Just make it zoo, and all of a sudden, you're not playing too many level 6s because that's what your deck does already.
Yes.
So
the fun part about this was the fact that, so I started this deck as the merciful kind of like, you get the Refleesamons, you get to go on top of the level 6 with another level 6, you get the merciful to trigger twice and delete multiple bodies.
Even Parasimon.
Oh, Parasitemon. Yeah.
Doing that too.
I did that a couple times. You Parasite, you tuck the Parasite underneath the Vmon, swing 2 checks of jamming. Very rarely happens.
Yeah.
But I've refined this quite a bit, and it's a lot of fun. Spoilers. So Dino Rexmons or X antibodies, both of them. Being able to tuck the X antibody option under the Mame Tyra.
Blew my mind when you did this. I was like, holy crap.
Yeah, so you swing with the Mame Tyra. You get to essentially Digivolve for free. You get every tamer you have that's Izzy and Mimi.
Yep.
Gives you another 3 checks on top of your deck. So if you have the X antibody on top of that or underneath it, you can do the when Digivolving and then X antibody on top of it. There's a lot of cool fun things.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have that for you guys sooner than later.
And it's tribal.
It's tribal.
2 of my favorite tribes.
Your favorite.
Mamimons and Tyrannomons.
I don't know how.
Obviously, you don't use those in the deck, right? But like it at all. But I just love Mamimons and Tyrannomons. Okay.
Obviously, like I don't play a lot of green. This is probably the second green deck you've ever seen me play.
Yeah.
But this is a fun like gotcha way to play the game, and
green
it's a zoo way.
My favorite green for sure.
For sure. So very, very fun way to play the deck. We'll have it out for you guys soon. We actually this is the first time we have a gameplay video filmed before a deck profile video. So
it's exciting.
I'll probably try and have the profile video, and then we'll do the gameplay the day after as far as the channel
that's
goes.
not a bad idea.
Yeah. We'll have it going for you.
That's why you're in charge of those decisions.
Yeah. Speaking of that, we're going to have more gameplay videos coming out for you guys soon. A little bit more editing for me to do. Yeah. Not anything crazy, but
we got a lot of fun.
This has been a fun week, even though we haven't had a lot of time to play and practice. Just a lot of like internal channel stuff going on. A little bit of deck building stuff, but tonight was a good night to practice with a few friends. And hopefully next week we'll be back at our locals. I'll probably be playing green.
Yes, I got to play black or gray.
Oh, yeah.
I've convinced myself sitting in this chair right now to start playing black or gray.
And we got to represent. We got to go down to Eugene and represent the channel.
Yeah.
So you guys are going to be seeing some cool branding stuff coming. We have play match shirts, all kinds of cool stuff in the mail.
Yep.
Stay tuned. Like, comment, subscribe. Just keep on watching, guys. We appreciate your support, and we'll see you next time.